And he was sharing the results and said, this is really weird because everything that it's showing is not what we've been told.
At long last, Phil Robertson's daughter has spoken up, and her remarks have generated considerable buzz. People had a suspicion for a long time that something was amiss, and now she has proven it. She speaks with the same fiery conviction and candor as her father. This isn't your average family feud. It sheds light on the lives of some of America's most famous families. She just spoke, and I don't understand why. Where is the secret that she has found? Come see the details unveiled with us in this video. The daughter of Phil Robertson, Phyllis Robertson Thomas, recalled lounging on the porch of her new home in Louisiana, which was a hunting lodge. She said that her family had transformed the place from a hunting lodge into a home since they moved in. Whenever it rains, she finds the scenery particularly enjoyable. She finds it quite serene and lovely to watch the showers down from the roof, and she adores the verdant trees around the house. She mentioned that she and her dad were planning to go duck hunting. When they failed to spot any ducks one day, she inquired as to their plans. She was just told by her dad to be patient and that they would attempt again the next day. She elaborated by saying that she had to approach the hunt's leader, a man named Stone, for authorization to join the expedition. Because she's a girl, Stone made fun of the fact that she presumably wouldn't shoot ducks. Hunts seldom welcomed women, so she was breaking new ground. But she relished the challenge. She became even more adamant on proving Stone incorrect, with each of his claims that she wouldn't strike anything. She enrolled in a hunter safety course and obtained all the required licenses in order to be prepared for hunting. After spending 5 years in Nicaragua on mission work and 2 years in a city in southwestern Missouri, she confessed that she didn't have any equipment. She borrowed items from friends and relatives as she was short on funds. She used the rifle that her elder brother had given her as a significant present. Her dad showed her the ropes and made sure she was loading and using it properly by keeping a close eye on her. According to her, she had some experience with firearms from childhood hunting trips to Jackson Parish with her grandfather. Hunting with her dad was the greatest, she claimed, since she got to spend time with him. The reason they relocated to Louisiana, she explained, was so she could be closer to him and know him better. They had lost out on many years together. He is 74 and she is 45. The part when he drove up in his white vehicle to pick her up first thing in the morning was the most memorable, according to her. Her weapons, camouflage clothing, and rucksack would be stashed on the porch. Even though he didn't express it verbally, she noted that he appeared enthusiastic. He played classic rock music, pointed out various locations, and told her stories on the short journey to the hunting area. Additionally, he discussed the next hunt. Upon arrival, all members of the group got the dog and their equipment ready. Phyllis was pleasantly surprised to sit next to her dad on this ride because she wasn't sure who typically accompanied her dad. They continued driving till they arrived at the duck blind. Her dad was constantly making observations as they went. He showed her the trees and grasses he had planted, as well as a pond he had constructed and filled with fish, because, according to her, he loves nature and likes teaching. He is, according to her, a person who has deep respect for the land and its natural resources. Acquiring this knowledge was similar to her own personal journey of self-discovery. She felt a deeper bond with her dad after learning that he shared her love of the outdoors, namely hiking, camping, and hunting. I had no idea my dad was such a skilled duck hunter until she told me that, and I was shocked. She was pleased with herself and explained that it made sense, as she has always enjoyed being outside. The more time they spend together, she is coming to love him more, despite how hard it is for them to communicate about their feelings. By the time they are all together, she feels like she has a family she never had before. And Miss K is like a new mother to her. Many had assumed that duck hunting would be the catalyst for Phyllis and her father to reconcile after their long separation. She obviously wants to find the love and acceptance she has been missing for a long time. In what way did a previously concealed part of their history suddenly become apparent, altering their whole understanding? We'll have to see. Phil Robertson, a familiar face to fans of Duck Dynasty, discovered in the 1970s that he had a daughter from a relationship that was not married. Phil and his daughter have begun to get to know one another and form a new bond after hearing this unexpected news. He informed the USA Today network of the following. "I've always been honest about the things I've done in my past," Phil stated. "It is not an accomplishment of which I am proud. There was a time when I needed God's light the most. Yet I was in the depths of despair. Seeing how God can use all of our chaos for His glory is very remarkable. From shattered pieces, He may fashion a work of art. That is demonstrated by my daughter." In an upcoming podcast with the USA Today network, Phil and his sons, Alan, Jace, Willie, and Jephthah, discussed how they learnt the news and how things are progressing at the moment. According to all the boys, Phyllis, 45, and her husband and children are warmly embraced by the entire family, including their mother, Miss Kay, who had much hardship in her early marriage as a result of Phil's infidelity. "What about your mother?" she inquired. Jace stated this on the podcast. I reassured her, saying, "Don't worry. Among our relatives, she has always been the most resilient. According to Phil, someone from your past might show up one day." This is based on what Miss Kay told him. She first thought it would be a boy, but now she's overjoyed that it's a girl. "Being a mother has always been my dream. After taking a DNA test and learning that Phil could be her biological father, Phyllis contacted Alan and Jace by letter earlier. After Alan and Jace informed their dad about everything, Phil wasted little time agreeing to do a DNA test. Phil instructed her to tell her to come on down once the test came back positive. And ever since then, the families have been spending time together and constructing something genuine. Jephthah recalled telling her, "I always wanted a big sister," during their initial phone conversation. "It was unbelievable, as if it were a surreal dream." According to Jace, "I simply said, 'I love her,' when he was informed that it was real." Jace confided in his wife Missy, "I truly loved her immediately when we chatted to her for the very first time." I think that's very cool. In the mid-70s, while his marriage was crumbling, Phil, now famous as a powerful Christian speaker, had a change of heart and began living a more holy life. The Theft of America's Soul is his account of the period. What does Duck Commander's future hold in light of the recent tragedies the Robertson family has endured, including Phil's death? More is coming soon. A&E aired the new series, Duck Dynasty, the revival on June 1st, marking the return of the hit reality program to television. Duck Commander's creator, Phil Robertson, passed away at the age of 79, only days before the debut. Willie Robertson revealed his intentions to locate a successor and announced his partial retirement as CEO of Duck Commander in the first episode. This discovery was a watershed moment for the company that Phil Robertson had founded in 1972, laying the groundwork for the Robertson family's meteoric rise to fame and fortune on television. The story opens in West Monroe, Louisiana, where Willie, Jace, and Cy Robertson are duck hunters with their uncle. During the journey, Cy brought up the fact that Willie hadn't visited Duck Commander's offices in more than a year, which led him to doubt his dedication to the company and the outdoors. Willie reaches a crossroads in his life at this point and realizes he needs to take a stand on his leadership style, moving ahead. Instead of quietly departing, Willie had his children compete over the change. He brought John Luke, Bella, Sadie, and Will, his 4 children, duck hunting to find out who would be the best fit to inherit the family company. Rebecca, who was expecting her 3rd kid, and Rowdy, his youngest son, were both excluded from the examination since they were away at college. As the journey progressed, Sadie made the observation that her father had never taken them hunting when they were kids. Willie knew this, but he blamed his kids' reliance on cell phones and other contemporary conveniences, which he said kept them cooped up and disconnected from the outdoors. The Robertsons are going through a very sensitive period as they undergo this internal succession process. Corey Robertson announced Phil Robertson's death on social media on May 25th, the day before the premiere. As she put it in her writing, the family was rejoicing over the patriarch's passing to heaven. Given when Willie announced his retirement, the question of his successor takes on further emotional significance. Years ago, Phil had delegated control of Duck Commander to Willie, and the company had flourished under Willie's watch. Now that Willie is considering retirement, the issue arises as to whether the next generation is prepared to carry on and grow the family firm. The new series seems to be constructed to examine how each of Willie's participating children may react to the difficulties of leadership, and each of them brings a unique set of characteristics and viewpoints to the table. At the episode's close, the family is presented to Rebecca Robertson's new baby boy, who was born in November. As the family grows, this event is a constant reminder that Willie's choice will have far-reaching consequences. Duck Commander's succession is now more than a mere economic concern. It impacts the future and heritage of the family. Sundays at 9 o'clock is when you can catch Duck Dynasty, The Revival. 8 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Time, the center of attention on A&E. Willie Robertson's decision-making process and the family's handling of the leadership shift inside one of the most famous reality television families are likely to take center stage this season. Given Willie's departure and the current search for a replacement, how are the Robertsons' offspring taking the lead in ensuring Duck Commander's continued success? Come on, let's go further. The Ducks are making a triumphant return to television with Duck Dynasty, The Revival, following an absence of 8 years. Every single spouse has joined in, and some have gone above and above what was originally expected. Those who became members of the family by marriage throughout or after the first series have typically enjoyed the perks of fame without the downsides. Thus, they are less reluctant to come on camera. During the first season, on-air wedding bells rang for John Luke and Mary-Kate Robertson. Christian Huff and Bella's boyfriends, on the other hand, became family members after the program concluded. As a result, they have little recollection of the negative aspects of fame beyond the pleasant memories of hearing family tales and watching the first season of Duck Dynasty. While this generational gap made the original family members more wary, it gave the new series' spouses a leg up. Christian Huff is a great example, since he is so comfortable being the center of attention. Willie and Corey's daughter, Sadie Robertson, addressed upcoming modifications to the show in an interview before to its release. All but Rowdy of the 6 children born to Willie and Corey, Rebecca, John Luke, Sadie, Bella, Will, and Will, are now married. A new and larger ensemble now includes members of this generation, as well as their wives and offspring. Honey, who is thrilled to be a part of the program, is now a part of Sadie's family. While shooting, Honey boasts to onlookers that she will be appearing on American Idol and Duck Dynasty. Willie Robertson's departure from day-to-day operations is noticeable in Episode 1. He has no idea what to make of all the new additions to Duck Commander, such the museum, coffee shop, and podcast studio when he gets there. Now that Corey is in charge at Duck Commander, John Luke is an employee of her production firm. There is another brother who runs the business, and Sadie's podcast and creative team are also headquartered there. The departure of Jace and Jephthah from the institution is not a result of animosity, but rather of a natural progression from one generation to the next. They will likely make an appearance in future episodes on occasion as new initiatives develop. With the arrival of semi-retirement, grandparenting, and travel as his priorities, Phil Robertson has begun a new chapter in his life. The program is reflective of this time in the family's history and provides a modern perspective on their dynamics. A component of this transformation is Willie's diminished role in day-to-day operations and on-screen leadership. Reminding viewers of the family's heritage, the opening sequence included Jace and Jep, along with the old duck hunting team. During Rebecca's baby shower, Miss Kay briefly appeared but left a significant impression by praying over the new baby. As previously announced, Phil Robertson did not make an appearance because of his continuing struggle with Alzheimer's disease and other health difficulties. The episode did its best to confront this fact and set the stage for future episodes to continue the family's exploration of it. There will be celebrity cameos this season as well. One episode in particular will include visitors that fans are sure to love. Nothing else is being said at this time. The only public commentary was a call for viewers to name their favorite family member or moment from previous seasons, with no more details provided. As the media's attention shifts away from the Robertson family, one unanswered issue persists. What happened during Phil's last days? We should examine it more closely. Famous Duck Dynasty. Father Phil Robertson passed away after a courageous fight with Alzheimer's illness. Fans noted his health deteriorating over time, and he hadn't been seen much in his family's YouTube videos recently. Before formally confirming his death, the family offered a few updates. The Robertson family shared their deep Christian faith and expressed gratitude for everyone's support in a public statement. In their statement, they expressed their belief that Phil is now with the Lord, and they used Bible scriptures such as 1 Thessalonians 4:13-14 and 1 Corinthians 2-9 to demonstrate their trust in Jesus. Members of the family shared private messages. Upon hearing that his father had died away, Jace Robertson expressed his certainty that they will meet again in paradise. Cy Robertson shared a snapshot of Phil and himself, taken just before Phil passed away. An impassioned tribute to Phil's unwavering faith was penned by Sadie Robertson Huff. He told her, "Full strength ahead," as his last words, and she posted images of them together, including one from their wedding day and one from his dying days. A number of news organizations covered Phil's death differently. His controversial statements regarding homosexual people, abortion, and a 2013 GQ article that resulted in his suspension from Duck Dynasty were the focus of several left-leaning websites. In response to a question on his moral compass, Phil cited 1 Corinthians 6:9-10. His followers believed he remained steadfast in his faith and refused to budge from his firm adherence to the Bible, even when faced with opposition. Christian principles as respect for human life, religious liberty, and free expression were common themes in Phil's sermons. Not only did he voice his disapproval of America's moral decay, but he also backed President Trump. Many people were interested in hearing about Phil Robertson's life. They looked up to him because he was a trustworthy guy who was fiercely loyal to his family and his principles. Many felt he was inciting hatred, but his loved ones say he lived his life for Jesus, spreading the gospel and looking forward to paradise. Those who believed in a life of simplicity, profound love, and unwavering faith were moved by his narrative. How did a humble hunter from Louisiana become a famous figure? And what kind of mark did he leave behind? For more, stay tuned. Phil Alexander Robertson was well known as a hunter, entrepreneur, and TV host. He created Duck Commander and starred in Duck Dynasty. On April 24, 1946, in Vivian, Louisiana, he entered this world as the fifth of 7 siblings. He grew raised in a poor household without running water, electricity, or a bathtub. They farmed their own food, caught their own fish, and reared pigs and chicks to keep themselves fed. Even though there were challenges, Phil remembered life as joyous and full of love. After Phil's stellar high school sports career, he attended Louisiana Tech University on a football scholarship in the late 60s. There, he played quarterback with Terry Bradshaw, a future NFL great. Phil may have been talented, but he lacked Bradshaw's passion for the game. He declined professional fishing opportunities because he was more interested in hunting, explaining, "Terry went for the bucks, and I chased after the ducks." Phil turned to teaching after finishing college and went on to get a master's degree in the field. In the early 1970s, he decided he didn't like the commercially available duck calls and decided to make his own. To make duck calls that sounded more authentic, he established Duck Commander in 1972. The once small business eventually became worth millions of dollars because to his doggedness and the assistance of his son Willie. Producers were interested in Phil's simple, devout lifestyle, and in 2012, A&E debuted Duck Dynasty. The show chronicled the duck call families, Phil, Kay, their kids, and others' efforts to juggle their Christian faith with the responsibilities of owning a duck call business. Thanks to his forthrightness, Christian beliefs, and rural knowledge, Phil became famous. For 11 seasons, the show was on top in the ratings. Even though he occasionally took heat for his comments, his fans still adored him. Throughout his public life, Phil's Christian religion was a major factor. The Bible, sin, and the moral decay of the United States were common topics in his speeches. When he spoke out against homosexuality and sin in an interview with GQ magazine in 2013, he caused a sensation. He was momentarily suspended by A&E, but he was restored on the show thanks to the public's support. His stance on his ideas was well appreciated by many. Happy, 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 Unfiltered, and Jesus Politics are just a few of Phil's publications that share his narrative and religion. He began discussing family, religion, and current events on a podcast titled Unashamed with Phil Robertson. Marcia Miss Kay Caraway was Phil's high school love, and in 1966 the two were married. Alan, their first kid, was born while they were still undergraduates. In his 20s, Phil battled alcoholism and personal problems, yet he subsequently became a powerful Christian leader. He and Kay went their separate ways for a while, but he found salvation through Jesus Christ. Phil was very vocal about his moral and political views, particularly his opposition to abortion. Regardless of the consequences, he was willing to defend the teachings of the Bible. Phyllis, Phil's daughter from a previous affair, was revealed to him in May of 2020. They became close once he accepted her into the family. A biopic of Phil's early life, The Blind, was released in 2023. It depicts the hardships he endured and how his religion transformed him. Phil was told he had Alzheimer's in 2024. He died at the age of 79 on May 25, 2025. In addition to a public memorial service, his loved ones arranged for a private burial. Faith, family, and honesty are the pillars upon which Phil Robertson's legacy rests. He conducted his life in accordance with his views, whether it was producing duck calls or appearing in a famous reality TV program while preaching the gospel. Many looked up to him because he never wavered from his principles, no matter how many others dissented. Those who believed in a life of simplicity, profound love, and unwavering faith were moved by his narrative. After we pass on, according to Phil Robertson, what happens? Is this the end of the road, or is there more to come? Stay tuned for additional information. Phil Robertson has profound things to say on faith, mortality, and the afterlife. He started out by stating that word will get out that he has passed away. Although his physical form may have been removed, he insisted that he had not really died, and this may have caused some to feel sorrow while others did not. His faith tells him that his spirit and soul will remain with God. Even when his physical form decays, his immortal spirit will carry on. He elaborated by saying that the Bible says that when we die, it's only the beginning of our new life with God. After Jesus comes again, He will resurrect the dead and give them new bodies that will last forever. These will be sturdy, long-lasting bodies, unlike the frail ones we are using presently. Even after He was gone, He hoped this reality would be remembered. Death is not the end for those who belong to Jesus. Rather, it is the passage from this world to the next, a celestial body. After His body is raised in perfect condition and His spirit is restored by Jesus, He will live eternally with God, according to Him. Belief in this fact, Robertson said, offers people hope. It is more preferable to know your final destination than to suffer through life's difficulties. If you make it to paradise, you will know it when you die. He urged his audience to give careful consideration to their beliefs. The existence of a supernatural realm, he claimed, is the central question. He thinks God built us and planned for us to live forever, while others think we're merely molecules that emerged from the sea. He made the analogy that our bodies are like tents, transient homes that would eventually fall apart. The Bible promised him that once this worldly tent is destroyed, God would construct a new house for us in heaven, a house that will last forever and be unlike anything we've ever seen. Even though we are physically present in this world, we moan and groan, await the arrival of our heavenly bodies. The fact that he is 75 years old has made him aware that his physical form would eventually die. No matter how long you live, your body will wear out. He reminded his audience that there is another body waiting for them, a body that will never die, and that people fear death because we lose loved ones and suffer. When this future body passes away, it will include the deceased's soul and spirit. At this time, seeing a person's corpse decay into the earth is a nakedness. We cannot glimpse their soul or spirit. There will be a void when our earthly bodies are no longer with us, but we will be reclothed with immortal celestial bodies. Robertson argued that we carry this worldly load not because we wish to die, but because we anticipate a better life beyond this one. Everyone hopes that one day they will be completely clothed in celestial bodies, and that death and all its miseries would be swallowed up by eternal life. We were created by God to spend some time in His presence once this life on earth comes to a close. In fact, as a guarantee of the future, God even sent His Spirit to those who believe. We are still physically separated from the Lord while we occupy these bodies. Robertson explained that this is the reason why, despite his faith, he occasionally feels estranged from Jesus. Something better, he knows it will come. He stated that it is preferable to be apart from the flesh and with the Lord, since we live by faith and not by sight. He emphasized again and again that physical death is a sign of completion, that you are with Jesus. God has already taken care of all that is required, yet humans are still worried about their survival. The incarnation, crucifixion, and resurrection of Jesus Christ took place on earth. He has risen from the dead and is now the key to everlasting life. According to Robertson, a believer's soul and spirit remain with Jesus after death. They will be raised up and given bodies that last forever when Jesus arrives later. Regardless of his physical state, Robertson has stated his intention to please God up to that point. Whether it's due to old age, sickness, or an accident, he has no idea how or when he will go from this body. However, he is certain that he will do so. His final words were that we shall all face Jesus in judgment, and that those who remain in His kingdom will know they have succeeded. In your opinion, what is the lasting impact of Phil Robertson's work? Post your ideas in the space provided. It is our sincere wish that you have enjoyed viewing this film. Please subscribe and like the video. If you want to see the latest celebrity news, just click the video that appears on your screen. Coming right up.